Most people are waiting for the perfect time to buy their first real estate deal, but truth is, it doesn't exist. The biggest risk for investing in real estate is actually not even just losing money, it's actually just never getting started. My name's Jeff. I'm an owner of 20 units of real estate, and I invest mainly in rural Airbnb single family, and they cash flow really well. In fact, a lot of these homes make around $70,000 per year, every single year. And I'm going to tell you the story about why I think it's so important to get started investing in real estate, especially in 2025. And for a lot of you newcomers, I'm pretty sure you're going to need a little bit of education, but 2026 if you're not ready by the end of the year, which is right around the corner. So my very first deals in real estate, before I even get there, I'm going to roll it back to when I was 25 and I just graduated pharmacy school. So I went through this long, rigorous program, 8 years of school. Total investment just under $200,000 financially, and time investment 8 years, and a lot of headaches and hard work. So pharmacy school is cool. I just graduated. I was exhausted. I was planning on doing a residency. I decided not to, just because by my third year I was honestly pretty burnt out of school, and I was one of those people, like 18 years old, I wanted a plan. I wanted to graduate in 4 years, and then I wanted to go and get a job, but I wanted to get a good job, a high-paying 6-figure job. So I became a pharmacist, and that costed a lot of money. And for me, I'm not sure if anyone else relates, but if you're in like some sort of immigrant family, you gain a lot of status, and 6 figures is considered a lot of money. Even if it was a $200,000 investment in 8 years, that's what we considered a good money and a good return. So by my 6th year in that undergrad to pharmacy school, I was like, oh, man, I'm tired. I don't know if I can take another year of school. I just wanted to work. So being a kind of like someone who I imagine as a high performer, someone who wants to stay on track, really pushed me to like just kind of keep on going and going. And by the time I was 25, I was thankful that I decided not to go into residency, because I would have been another year. And honestly, a lot of my friends in residency, from what they've told me and from what I've researched on my own, you actually make less than retail pharmacists, although the work might be more fun, so I'm not going to discount it that way. And then I went and found my first job at, I'm not going to say store names, but it was a retail pharmacy, big chain, you would know it. I shop there all the time and buy like fishing supplies. But if you go to my old posts, you'll see me working there, and I started off making around $120,000 per year, and I was floating everywhere. So I worked in Cortez, Colorado, and met a lot of great people there. And what my days looked like there were, hey, it's 6 o'clock, get out of bed, go grab some breakfast, get ready to open up the pharmacy at 8 o'clock. So I would get out at 6 o'clock, brush my teeth, shower. It'd be around like 6:30, maybe go grab some breakfast at McDonald's or something, or I don't know, make some cereal and milk. And then it was around 7 o'clock, and then I'd drive to work around another 30 minutes, and I'd sit in my car for 30 minutes waiting for 8 o'clock so I could go and unlock the pharmacy. And that was my day, pretty much. I'd stay there for about like 8 to 10 hours to 12 hours, depending on what type of store I would work at. Because I floated from Pueblo, Colorado to Salida, Colorado, and somewhere in western Colorado, and also in Lamar, Colorado, which is like the eastern side. These are about like an hour and 3 hours away, and that's just the nature of the work as a pharmacist, is you have to float. And I would do this for like the next 5 months consistently. And at first I thought I was like, it was gonna be because my job I was hired on was part-time. I was only supposed to work, I think, like 24 hours every single week. What happened was I got so good at doing it, at being a pharmacist and being personable, I guess is what my bosses always tell me. They say I'm a pretty nice person and easy to work with. But in addition, I'm also extremely hardworking. And I got more shifts. It ended up being 40 hours per week. And I got offered full-time positions at every single pharmacy, which, if you guys don't realize, so most pharmacists in this company, they start off as floaters where they just cover different spots. But for me, or for that company, once you get good and you prove that you can do the job and you do a great job, they start to give you offers. They can let you climb the corporate ladder if that's what you please. For me, another story, a a story for another day. But for me, I decided not to go that route. But I was offered positions as a staff pharmacist. Eventually, I did become a manager pharmacist. Again, story for another day. And I got more than 40 hours promised. Eventually, I got 60 hours. And I remember after like 5 months in, like in October, after I graduated in May, there was a month where I was just coming out of it, like about to finish October, and we were starting to like get those messages from family and friends that, hey, you know, come celebrate for Christmas, come out for Thanksgiving, because I was from California originally, and I really wanted to go to those parties. And just again, like I was like, okay, cool, let me try and see if I can make this work. And then I finished that shift, and I sat in my car in the parking lot, and I was just looking at my calendar, and I was like, oh gosh, that was nice. I just finished day 20 out of 31. Let's see what next month looks like. And then I just kind of paused for a little bit, because the next month looked exactly the same. And I was just like, oh my gosh, is this gonna be what it is the rest of my life? Am I gonna just wake up and go to work every single day, repeating the same schedule? And eventually I asked my boss, like, hey, what does it look like for you? How do I become like a regional manager and stuff? He's like, oh yeah, you're on the right track, you're great. We think you could probably become like a regional manager if you just maybe work like 5 more years or something like that. I was like, 6 more years, 10 more years. And I was like, man, what about like my dreams for having a family, like having kids, visiting my parents back home, or visiting my brother, who, you know, is like, I was really like going to miss if I was going to not be able to see him. So that's when I kind of decided the W-2 life wasn't for me. And it's to each their own. Like, some people love the schedule. I'm not gonna hate on it. And then that 40 hours a week is perfect for so many people. And not everyone's made to be like an entrepreneur or a business owner. But I would say like the benefits of it are often overlooked. And the benefits of being a W-2 worker are usually overvalued, because it's stability, where that's also all kind of like a mirage. And what I've learned personally is if you do a good job and you are selling drugs as a pharmacist, you're actually actively participating the way they trained you, which is like, hey, sell the medicine somehow, make money for our pharmacy, bring customers into the store, retain them, provide good customer service so they buy other things inside the store. You do the same exact thing for yourself, and you do it confidently and do it from a place of love, where, you know, you're actually trying to help people. Like how I imagine things when I'm in real estate, it's like, hey, I want to make my friends a lot of money, so I don't feel bad for offering these services if I think I can actually help them. And the same with pharmacy. Like, I don't know if like drugs are going to cause side effects or hurt someone. I do my best, I study the material, but nothing's ever guaranteed in life. So after those holidays again, so like that was like the big pivot moment in my life, where I was just like, you know, like something has to change. So I went back to my like home later that day, where I shared it with 3 other people, where we split rent for like $1,000. Pretty good deal. Saving a lot of money. So I saved up a lot of money that year. I did a lot of studying, and I remember just sitting on the couch scrolling through Bigger Pockets and these real estate podcasts, and just learning like, oh, these people became like multimillionaires in their 30s. I'm 25. I can get a head start right now. Let's start learning about this and seeing if it's true. And I saved up for about like another 4 months, and I remember, I think I was still pretty nervous about it. But then my parents, I remember they were real estate investors for a very long time. So I wanted to go ask them. So I ended up moving back to where they live, which is South Carolina, in Spartanburg, South Carolina. And that's where I eventually became a pharmacy manager, not in hopes to actually climb the corporate ladder, but in hopes to like make a little bit of money, help my patients along the way, and use that money to buy more real estate, because that's what we learned. That's what I learned while I was studying in Pueblo, Colorado, so that preparation stage. So I got to Spartanburg, South Carolina. I've saved up a lot of money, and then I decided I'm gonna try and like get my feet wet, and I was so scared. I honestly thought it was like the biggest mistake ever. No matter how much I studied, no matter how much people told me investing in real estate is a great idea, it's scary as heck buying your very first deal. And I didn't try and buy just one. I tried to buy 2, because I was in a lot of pain. I was like, oh man, I don't know how much longer I can stick in healthcare, because it was taking a toll on like my mental capacity. And throwing back, I don't think I went to those Christmas parties and Thanksgiving parties. that my family invited me to, so I missed them. And that was just like more fuel for me. It's like, hey, this needs to happen sooner than later. So I ended up buying my very first 2 long-term rentals in Spartanburg, South Carolina. I spent my whole life savings, and my parents actually helped me with like a little bit on the down payment on another one because I was planning to live in one. So I was gonna house hack. So I think I spent $50,000, all my money, all my life savings, and I think I borrowed like another 20 from my parents to finalize the down payment on the other one and just pay them back later. Those homes, you know, there's such a big buildup to like going from Pueblo, Colorado, studying it, seeing these people make like $1,000 per month from rent and stuff. And then I got to mine, and I made a big mistake where I didn't underwrite correctly. Honestly, just because my plan at the time was just to buy it and pay it off. So I was like, oh, it's gonna be fine no matter what. But when I learned later, it's like, hey, I want to keep on borrowing to buy more real estate. But I underwrote incorrectly. And I was like, oh yeah, these homes are gonna make like $1,600 per month. And I'm so dumb, I didn't even take account for like the most obvious thing, which is the mortgage. So I was like, oh, I'm just gonna make $1,300 extra. Plus, like, I read about it, but again, I didn't do it, which is like capital expenditures, repairs, property management fees. So I end up just making like $100, like $300 per building after spending $70,000. So I made like $200 to $600. Which, if you look at it like comparing to like index funds, is so not a good deal. Moving forward, it's been a great deal because that money has pretty much like tripled, thanks to like you know, leverage, amortization, appreciation, and slowly the cash flow. But those first 2 deals, even though they weren't home runs, I learned a lot from them, and that's why I wanted to get back to my point of like, you know, it matters less that you don't worry about losing money in real estate, but more that like the biggest risk is actually never getting started. Because if I didn't learn these lessons, I wouldn't be where I am today, which is like fast forward 8-9 years, whatever you want to call it. I own 20 units again, cash flowing about $17,000 per one single family home using the rural Airbnb strategy. And that's not even like the main way I plan on actually exiting and like making the more money. It's actually through appreciation, like how most real estate investors actually make money. The cash flow is just there to protect me in case of like downside during recession. So if you look here, this is the Case-Shiller index. It's showing from like 1987 or even longer. There's some data on longer that real estate appreciates over time. So even if you bought during the worst time in like 2008, it's okay, it recovers. It's just like the stock market where like things appreciate at a 12% interest rate. For real estate, it's like 4% average appreciation rate. But again, because it's leverage, you put way less money than the house is actually worth. So you say maybe put 10% down on a $200,000 home, and that's $20,000, and it appreciates by, I don't know, 6%, 10%, 4%. You get that 4, 6, 10% appreciation on a $200,000 asset, not $20,000. And my worry is that 62% of renters these days are actually like believe that they're never going to own a home. And that's a problem for me because it's been my biggest wealth strategy, my biggest gift in life. And it's brought me so many good things. And I hope that this video inspires you to learn a little bit more about real estate and get out there and put your first deal together. I'll put some resources down below too if you want to like learn how to buy real estate long distance. There's a book by Greene that's really good from Bigger Pockets called Long Distance Real Estate Investing, and another really great book called Short-Term Rental, Long-Term Wealth by Avery. And also the book on Low to No Money Down Real Estate Investing by Brandon Turner, also from Bigger Pockets. And if you guys want to follow me, I'm on Instagram at Jeff Choi. See you later.